Okay, we can get started. So this is a recorded meeting, Zoom only. And so let's begin. Minutes from 3/24 we'll do first.
Dick, I read both sets of minutes that came out there was 2 sets, right?
Yeah, I'll do them one at a time.
And I was okay with them. I don't know if anybody else has already read them, but I'll weigh in to say I'm okay, and I'll make a motion. We accept them unless somebody's got comments.
Yeah, let's do them one at a time.
Yep.
Okay, so Mike D made a motion. Who
I'll
second?
second that.
Deb? And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstain? Somebody opposed?
No, he said aye.
Abstain? Unanimous? Let me run down to affirm. Mike Coombs,
Yes.
Malcolm,
Yes.
Mike DeBay,
Yes.
Dick G, yes. Scotty,
Yes.
Deb,
Yes,
Eric,
Yes.
okay. And Paul is not with us, so we're good. Unanimous. Okay. Minutes from 3/31.
I read those. I didn't see any changes. I move to accept them as is.
Okay. Deb,
I'll
A
second
second?
that. Mike DeBay.
Mike D. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Unanimous. So I'll run down the affirmation here. Mike Coombs,
Aye.
Malcolm. Malcolm.
Aye.
Mike
Aye.
DeBay,
Aye.
Dick, aye. Scotty,
Aye.
Deb,
Aye.
Eric.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Okay. And we have for guests, we have Jason Jagir and Scott.
Snyder Peruse.
Yeah, I got that. Okay, any other guests besides? Oh,
There goes Malcolm.
no. Yeah, I got a thing in the middle of my screen here I got to get rid of. It just crept in. There we go. Got rid of it.
Hey, Dick, my
Um,
wireless isn't working here and I'm fading in and out left and right, just to let you know. So if
Okay.
I keep going off and on. So if you see me
Okay.
bounce out, you'll know why.
Okay. And so the first thing we have on our agenda, any public comments before we get to that? No public comments? Both Scott and Jason are muted. And Concom update, we don't have anybody, we don't have Norman, we don't have Jerry. So we don't have a Concom update. All right. CRC update.
Scott, do you want to do that or you want me to do it?
You can go ahead and do it. I really don't have an update for tonight.
Okay. All right. So what Michelle said is that just mention that we had Doug Moglen and Colin Mole from Suffield, both select people, speak at the meeting. And there was a good discussion. Colin seems to be very much in favor of learning more about the lakes and helping out. Babs is still available to anybody that joins CRC or sends their membership in. Let's see, what else? It was held both by, it was a in-person and Zoom meeting. Let's see, I wrote a few notes down. Trout stalking has begun. CRC bylaws are being updated. There's going to be a golf tournament in September. Let's see. Southwick Police she spoke about the Southwick Police getting a new boat and the motor from the old boat is going to LMC, which we already knew about. And the memberships have gone out, so you can pay either by PayPal or send the membership into the post office box. And we asked for speaker suggestions, and Eric is going to be speaking at the next one. That's about it. And we're glad for, she said, also mentioned that we're happy for a good partnership with the towns and the different boards.
Mhm. And we have a Mary joined us, who was muted, so I don't know who else, what the last name might be.
By the way, just to inject one thing, Deb,
Yeah.
Ginny shared with me some information the other day. I didn't realize that CRC gets a little piece of the pie when people spend money, I guess, with Amazon Prime, if they've set something up that way. And I
Yeah,
was surprised by the amount of money that's coming in, whether that's monthly, quarterly, I don't know, but it was still, it's free money. And it,
Right.
I was impressed.
We've been doing that for years.
No,
Yes.
I knew we've been doing it for a while, but I was just surprised by the, well, let's just say I was surprised by how much from our end went into that thing. I said, keep up the good spending on you with
on
Prime.
Amazon. Right.
Actually, when I get the things from Amazon, it says you and others have put
Right.
in this much money. So it's
Right.
not just Ginny spending, Jerry. Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
right.
But her piece was like $25 or something. I went, what? How much?
Yeah.
I was surprised.
So, all righty.
Scott, you want to add anything to that?
I think you covered everything pretty much, Deb, very well. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for being there. Backing me up.
problem. We're good.
Okay. I see. All right, so Ken, do you want to unmute yourself?
Yes,
There we
thank
go.
you.
All right, so we have Ken Eggleston on. He wanted to talk about 141 Congamon Road. And well, I think you know what Lake Management's position has been before, but why don't you start and then we'll open it up to the masses.
All right. First, thank you for the opportunity to speak with all of you. I wish it's a step that I had taken several months ago, not knowing that there really was a Lake Management Committee that was a town board, so to speak. That being said, I'm just looking to introduce myself to everybody on the board, let you know that I'm the new owner of the 141 Congamon Road, Krabby Joe's, and that we intend to open the facility up before this summer as I'm leasing the property to a company called Four Dads Pub, who has an operation in Granby, Connecticut, and another one in that just opened up in Hartford, Connecticut. And this will be their third one. They plan on opening up a fourth one by the end of the year in Coventry, on Coventry Lake. In addition to that, of course, we want to have the ability to have transient docks in the water so that customers can come from the lake and partake in alcohol and refreshments that are being offered by the restaurant. And that is also something that the Chapter 91 Mass DEP want from us as well, that we are friendly with the people that are on the lake and giving them accessibility to the facility.
Well,
In addition to that,
if I can interrupt you for a minute, Mass DEP doesn't get involved with the logistics of why and what. They just do the how and the permitting.
But I
That's
was
their
told that
only role.
But I was told by the DEP that they wouldn't allow docks to be in the water on this commercial restaurant if I wasn't giving any docks or parking ability to people who are riding boats on the lake. If I didn't have any docks at all for them to be able to come to my facility, they would never give me a permit to have any docks. In other words, they wouldn't just give me a marina license without having
Right,
transient
right.
docks.
That part's correct. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. If I
Okay.
didn't say it well. The other part of what we're looking to do is to have some rental slips there so that we can have people who are going to be members of what we call the Top Shelf Club at the Fort Ads Pub, that will be able to have their boats out there where they can come to when they want. And that's where I guess we've come to our conflict about, what problems those boats can cause. The latest plans are that that the town planning board has given us permission to, or said that they would give us permission with the right from the select board or whatever, to have 20 transient, up to 20 transient, up to 20 rental. And that's what I'm hoping that we can get. And that's what has been presented thus far. And I think were you able to give everybody a copy of what I emailed to you?
Yes, everybody has it. Yes.
Okay, so, I mean, I know what your comments were back on January to the town planning board. I know what your follow-up comments were on March 11th, again, to the planning board. And I know from the many meetings that took place between January and March that they listened to everything you said, because they brought up word for word, they read them right there in the minutes, everything that you were concerned about. And we tried to reply to those in writing from Rob Levesque. And I'm here now to verbally tell you, or to speak to you about what kind of a good neighbor we're going to be. We're going to be employing people from the town. We're going to be very cautious of parking. I've had long comments with the safety officer, Paul Miles. I've had a couple conversations with the chief of police, who is the harbor master, about safety concerns. I've spoken to DEP about their concerns, Randy Brown. And
It's DPW,
DP, what did I say?
DEP.
Yeah, DPW. And actually today I did also speak with DEP, the state, and they're hoping to provide us with a file number within the next 2 to 3 days. They feel it would be no later next Tuesday that we would get what's called their file number, which means that they would be getting back to us with their comments.
But a public hearing has to be held. There's all part of that, and there's a whole notification process.
Right, and all of that's already out there. The notification has been put out into the paper, as far as I know, according to conservation. What's her name? Jean. A woman named Jean.
Yeah, Jean.
Yeah. I believe it's in the paper. If it's not in the paper, maybe it's about to go into the paper, because I think it has to be 14, something to do with 14 days.
That's correct.
The meeting is not until May the 2nd. So it may be that it's not out there yet, because does it have to be within 14 days or at least?
No, it has to
14 days?
be, it can be no, you can't be shorter than 14 days.
Right,
Why
and then
you
I
say
would
it
think that
right.
it's already been done, because when I spoke with her yesterday, she told me to be expecting a bill for it to be in penny saver, I think she said, something like that. So,
And we have somebody, Jen, on the line. Can we get a name to go with that? If they can unmute, please. Jen and Mary. We have Jen and Mary. Please unmute and identify yourselves.
Mary Troy, Troy.
Okay, and Jen?
Didn't hear it. Jen Melissa.
Yep.
Okay,
So, Ken, I don't know I guess you saw feedback that we had provided. One thing I think that may have generated some confusion in the feedback we provided was having to do with counting boats and how many boats are out on the water and a discussion of it. But actually, there's a kind of a simpler way to view it. There have been a number of studies performed in a number of lakes in the northeastern US concerning what is the maximum safe density of boats on a lake when water sports are going on versus other activities, whatever, fishing, for all kinds of things. And the typical numbers are something like 10 acres per boat, but what would be considered pretty dense, in fact, pushing it from a safety perspective, is 5 acres per boat. And the acres there you use are what they call the boatable acres. So in other words, the stuff right near the shore doesn't count. And no wake zones don't count because those aren't boatable acres in that calculation. So if you do that and you ask what are the boatable acres on Congamon lakes, you come up with a number. It's about 300. So if you say that there's 300 boatable acres on Congamon lakes, and you say, well, what's the maximum number of boats that can be out there and safely have people basically partaking in the activities that people partake on a weekend at Congamon lakes, then you would take 300 acres and divide that by 5 acres per boat, and that would come out to 60 boats. So that calculation basically says that the maximum number for safe water sports activity on the lake is 60 boats at a time. The state launches provide almost 60 boats.
That's right.
On the weekends, they're full, and we don't have the authority to shut those down. That's it's a Massachusetts Great Pond. Those are state facilities. It's not like we can go, well, you need to shut those down. We can't. So just the launches. I'm sorry?
But the harbor master can.
No,
No, he can't.
he
No, he
cannot.
can't.
He thinks he
No,
can.
those are state facilities. So if there were no other boats on the lake, if nobody had any other boats, if there was no marina and no other boats on the lake, and the only thing there were 2 launches
Right.
that were full on the weekend, you would already be at the load.
Right.
But there are a bunch of other boats on the lake and 2 marinas already. So the issue is that we've already got an overcrowding situation. And one argument one might make is they might go, well, since there's already too many boats, what is 20 more? The problem with that argument is by that argument, there's no limit. It's like, well, what if there's 1,000 more? Well, see, it doesn't matter because we're already over. So what's 10 more? What's 20 more? What's 30 more? It's not a very good argument. And certainly, I read some of the commentary, certainly when there's an accident, the behavior of the driver is a big factor in it. But no question, your probability of having accidents goes up as there's more boats on the lake at a given time. And so the concern that the Lake Management Committee has is we're going, look, we're already outside of any window of any publication for what's a safe number of boats for water sports activity. We're already way outside that. And so we're going, look, adding more boats is a bad idea because we're already operating in a regime that's beyond anybody's number for what is a safe load. So that's the concern. Nobody on Lake Management has said anything that they had any concerns with regard to seeing the restaurant reopen and having transient docks like like it was for decades. I think nobody's had any concerns with that. At least I haven't heard anybody else here. I think everybody here has been supportive of, yes, let's see that restaurant thriving, and transient docks should be part of that. Absolutely. I think that the issue comes up when we start talking about let's add a marina. That's what the concern is.
And I apologize. Could I have your name?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Eric. You can't read it on the screen? Hi.
Oh, yeah, I guess I can.
Yep, there it is.
It does keep going in and out on the bottom of the screen.
Oh,
Right now it's
Oh,
black.
okay.
Now it just came back. Maybe it's only there when you're talking. I don't know.
okay. Yeah,
Okay,
it might be. I don't know what it looks like on your end on Zoom.
Yep. Yeah, like right now it's there. But, okay. You know, I know what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. You know, I live on this lake as well as I don't know how many other people, another 1,000 people who live on the lake. I know that
Now,
I've read your
there's
the
300
comment
homes.
from, huh?
There's 300 homes.
300 homes.
Yeah,
Probably
300.
1,000 people live on the lake. And you say that there's 300 homes, yet there's 600 power boats moored on the lake. So that means every house has two. That's a
Correct.
lot. And I know that I'm one of them. I have a motorboat and a pontoon boat and 2 jet skis.
Yep.
But never are all of them out in the water at any one time. And
Sure.
I would question, you know, like what we plan to do at the restaurant in the parking area is we're going to find out literally how our parking lot is being used. We're going to keep track of, you know, how many of our boaters are coming on any specific day. Granted, we all know that no matter what you do, my 20 boats isn't going to make the difference on 4th of July or the Saturday of the parade and those kinds of things. There are going to be the holiday weekends. My little 20 boats isn't going to make a difference. But what we plan to do is to find out how much of our boats are being used. And we honestly believe, even though the planning board said that they're going to use, you know, 2 marina spaces would only occupy 1 parking space in my parking lot. I think that that's going to be more than enough, because I don't think that we'll ever see half of those boats out there at any one time. I've spoken to Kurt Saunders about his 120 boats he's got over there. Maybe on a given weekend, 40 of them go out. And 600 boats moored on the lake. How many of them go out in a weekend? You know, I'm just, or not just a weekend, at one time.
Right, but the boat ramps, 100% of those are out. In other words, when the boat ramp's full,
Yep.
100% of those are on the water. And that already.
Are they? Yeah.
Well, of course,
Are they on the
because
water?
nobody
Or are
launches a boat. Nobody launches a boat and isn't on the water with the boat. Otherwise, it's not launched.
Launch.
And
they've
that-
launched there. They are on the water, but where are they on the water? Are they physically moving the boat around, or are
Sure.
they one of the 200 boats that are sitting over in North Pond on the side of the lake? You know.
Sure, but look at how far away we are. We're talking that 60, a total of 60 already exceeds the density you should be at. 60. It doesn't take a very large percentage of the boats you just counted up to be well in excess of the 60. And you know, if you're out on the water, not just on 4th of July, you're out on the water any weekend during the normal boating season, and the density gets very, very high, and it becomes a safety issue. And you know, initially it was just sort of our impression as people on the lake, geez, it seems unsafe, but that's where we went and looked up. Mike DeBay went and looked up and found the publications, because studies have been done on it. This isn't just something we're making up.
Right.
And it's really clear. And in fact, 10 acres per boat was really where they were saying you should be. But there were some studies that said you may be able to get away with 5 acres per boat. That would be 60 boats. The launches provide almost that. So that's kind of the concern. And so I guess one question I have is, you're saying, all right, well, we're going to have 20 spots. So are you saying that if you had 20 spots, and you found out that only 5 of them were being used, that you would say, hey, really, it's only 5 more boats? And are you saying that if it turned out that no, actually, we thought it was only going to be 5, but really it's actually 10, that you would then cut your number of dock spaces in half?
No.
Okay, well, then counting doesn't matter. You're just saying you're going to count and tell me what happened.
I'm concerned, well, my concern when I say that is more about the town and in other departments are concerned about the overcrowdedness of the parking.
Sure.
I get you with the overcrowdedness of the water.
Right.
That's, you know,
But
I've had two conversations with the police chief, the harbor master, who in each situation when I spoke to him on that, his comment was that he's responsible for that. And he doesn't feel, he's not arguing with your numbers, but he doesn't feel that the lake is unsafe on any weekend, even if there's all the boats out there on the water.
Right. And so that's,
I'll tell you, in my opinion, it's unsafe all the time. And it has more to do with the boaters that we allow on the water. I'm a Connecticut resident and I have a Connecticut boater's license. Massachusetts doesn't require one.
And they should.
Absolutely, they should. If you guys are all out there on that lake, do you see these people, what they do? If you're pulling a skier, you got a jet skier crossing over behind you.
Oh, yeah,
I just saw the buoys go back out here. The buoys go out, and I guarantee you got 3 buoys. You know, you go on the right side, and you come out on the left, on the other right side. There's people just cross right over in front of them at cruising speed.
Mike, if I could comment, Ken, you just said what the police chief didn't say. He says it's safe. He's not on the lake, hasn't been on the lake. He's only been the chief for a year. That is unsafe out there. You are absolutely.
Ask the environmental police.
For him to make that comment, you know he's not right. That lake.
And ask the environmental police.
I assume that he's speaking to the officers who are on the lake, and he's taking the responsibility and saying that. And I don't want to speak for him, please, but if his officers don't come and say it's unsafe, or that they didn't give out 100 tickets today.
So there's impressions. We have impressions of safety or lack of safety, and that's certainly there's room for discussion. That's kind of the reason why when towns and cities and states want to create regulation, they conduct actual studies so that they're not making the numbers based on how it feels. I feel this is safe. I feel that isn't safe. And that's why we went and looked up the studies. And those studies are what we're basing these numbers on. We certainly have impressions that agree with your impression regarding safety. And yes, bad boater behavior can make one boat unsafe. Absolutely true, without a doubt. If you behave stupidly enough, it doesn't matter what you do.
I mean, I don't remember. When was the last time that the lake had an accident?
I think every year, several.
Last year. Had quite a few.
There were accidents last year that nobody talked about, weren't publicized.
So they get talked about.
People don't call in.
I can tell you, I have been out on several of the with the state police and town police and environmental police on the search and rescue and then recovery, and spent a whole day and another day out there with them. And those are from accidents. And in most cases, things that could have been prevented but weren't, and they happened. And unfortunately, that's what happens on Congamon.
Right.
And the other one thing I'd like to bring up, though, Ken, is that you said about keeping track of parking. You do not have any permission yet to park car 1 on the town right of way. That has to be somehow granted. So you have 0 spaces that you can use.
And I know that.
Any that you were to use for if you ever got permission to have a marina, would take away from, they'd have to be earmarked for that, and they would take away from capacity in your restaurant. Can't have it both ways.
The capacity of the restaurant has already been determined and based upon legal parking on our property already. That the 95 occupancy is the 48 parking spaces that we have without the easement right of way or town
right.
property.
And that consumes all of your parking. So if you cannot use if you think about it the other way around, if you cannot use the town land for parking, then if
Then
you
there's no
have a
marina.
marina, you have to use your own parking that takes away from your restaurant. Can't have it both ways.
Yeah, I think he knows
Well,
that.
Yeah, I do know that. I do know that. And hopefully we will receive permission from the select board and town council at the recommendation of the planning board to be able to use that town property.
But they don't have the right to do that, apparently. That has to, if it's town property, that has to go to town meeting.
Right.
And if it's state
And it's
property.
state property, I'm not sure how you do it. And some of it is state property, by the way.
Some of where I'm parking or want to
Yes.
park.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some of that is state land.
Yeah.
They took it by eminent domain.
In 1947, right?
Right.
Yeah, well, you're talking over on Beach Road now.
No.
No, along Congamon Road.
Not according to any plans that I've been privy to.
I have circulated that plan to the planning board, to the select board.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm waiting for the decision to be made on that end of things.
Yeah.
To comment on something else that was just said too, there will be designated parking for Marina. If and when we have the right to use the town and state land, if and when we're giving the approval by whoever to have a marina and we get the Chapter 91 license, it's the town planning board gave us a lot of approvals with a lot of hoops to jump through. And talking with you is one of those hoops in getting that permission. So, I'm not trying to put the cart before the horse.
Right, the hoops are because that's not them trying to make it difficult for you, it's that they don't have the authority to give those things.
Right, the planning board didn't have authority. Yep.
Yeah. So one other thing, one other thing I want to make sure, because you get all these miscommunications, whatever happens with your, with whatever dock design you go with and what have you, you do understand, want to make sure you understand legally, you'll be required to remove those docks every year.
That is not true.
Yeah, it is true. By December 1st, they have to be out every year.
These are going to be commercial docks.
Doesn't matter.
And I will have bubblers on them.
No, you cannot have bubblers on.
You're thinking of what you see.
Will not have bubblers on there.
You're thinking of what you're seeing at Saunders, which is grandfathered from a long time ago. We were really concerned that somebody wasn't giving you good information. You have to remove the docks every year by December 1st, even if they're commercial docks. You're not allowed to put bubblers in. The laws are not the same as they were a long time ago. So whatever
those laws are written somewhere. That law is written somewhere.
Yes, it's in the Chapter 91 regulations.
Yeah, PB&J, the other marina, they have to remove their docks.
They remove their docks every year because they went in later than when Saunders docks were in, and they were able to do that. So those are grandfathered in, but your docks have to be removed by December 1st. So whatever design,
then I guess
whatever design you've got, that has to be compatible with you being able to remove them, and you have to have a place to stick them. Because like you won't be able to put them on your parking lot because you'll be parking there. So you need, they can be right next to the water. It's not like they have to be a million miles away, but you have to be able to remove them. And the design you have has to support that, or you won't be able to get a Chapter 91 license for that reason. So the reason we're kind of bringing this up is we want you to succeed with the Chapter 91 license for the transient docks. And if you've got a design that's not removable, you won't get the license. So
then I guess that'll probably be one of their comments when it comes back. When they issue that file number, I'm sure that will be one of their comments, because as part of the application, we've stated that they would be remaining in the water.
Okay, well then.
So they will probably kick that rack right away then.
Yeah, so you're probably going to get a thing back saying they have to be removed every year by December 1st.
Yeah.
And then they can go in a week after ice out.
Okay.
And then, then another issue that we saw with the design, which we brought up, has to do with the length, because the maximum allowed length without a variance exception is 75 feet. and you've got 150-foot sections. And so that's probably going to get rejected.
The 100, well, there I would like to disagree with you, Eric. That 150-foot number came from DEP.
Really?
Yeah, if you look at the drawing, there is a what is it called? Limit of configuration.
Yeah.
And I know that is stated precisely the way DEP said it needed to be. It's 150 out.
Yeah, so Dick, I mean, we've circulated the Chapter 91 rules before because we've had people ask for exceptions on LPP docks, and the rules we circulated from the state were pretty clear at 75 feet, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's confusion
There may
there. I
be a
don't know
difference
where it's
between
from.
residential. There may be a difference between residential and commercial. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I was part of that meeting when we were
Yeah.
given those numbers. As a matter of fact, if we go back to the original thing that we gave to the planning board, it was incorrect because the northerly border changed because it was based upon going at a 90-degree angle into the water from the shoreline. And that's not how, and apparently that's not how it's done. It goes according to a
Property
straight line of the angle of the property from from the road side to the shore side, and that angle keeps going.
That's correct.
But and then on top of that, there's a 25-foot property line setback off of that property line that the limit of configuration is for the docks.
Right. Yep. So that all dovetails with everything we've seen before. The thing that doesn't dovetail is the 150 feet. You know, the document that we had from DEP didn't actually stipulate that it was residential, that it was a residential dock restriction. Maybe it is. They just didn't write it. Don't know.
Yeah.
You know, that's certainly the document that we got from them. I don't know how many years ago, had a 75-foot limit. And like I said, it doesn't say residential on it, but maybe that's implied and we're unaware of it. Do you know anything about that?
I always followed the 75-foot rule myself. When I put my docks out at my house and I put a raft out there, you know, I know that there was 75 feet. When I travel my boat around the lake, I like to be 100 feet off. That's where I want to be when I'm driving around. And you know, these damn fishermen think that they can come right up to your shoreline.
They can.
Between your docks and.
Which they can.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, they may be able to, but they don't pay for all the things that they ruin over here when they leave hooks in it.
Yeah. Well, that's
No argument there.
common complaint.
You know, I bought 2 trampolines and I put them in my water, destroyed within weeks.
Yeah, the folks who run the tournaments are very concerned with not even piss off people who live on the lake. So if you have a thing that happens and you know when it happened, you should report that.
Get a boat number. It really helps.
Yeah,
Well, that I don't know.
Better.
You find out after it's deflated.
Yeah.
That, oh, look at his hook and sinker hanging off it.
Yeah.
And drive away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That's you would not be the first person with that complaint. I think if you know the day that it happened, I think that's worth reporting at least because that can go back to whoever was running the tournament.
And I never knew that there was somebody to complain it to.
Oh yeah, no, each of these tournaments is a registered event, and there is a person.
Tournament director.
If you pardon me, the pun, on the hook for that. So,
Right.
But that's if it's a tournament. If it's not, if it's an individual fisherman.
And that's a problem. If it's an individual fisherman.
Right.
And some of them get really nasty.
Yes.
Oh, we know.
Yeah.
We've seen
I've
had a live fish thrown at us.
Yeah, I mean, I've had everything from, very, very polite fishermen to very impolite fishermen.
Most of them are polite.
Yes.
Most of them
Yeah,
Most of them are.
Most of them, yeah.
So anyway, like I said,
I hear you.
we would really like to see that the restaurant get open and going and the transient docks up and going. So I think you're gonna, if you can start to get ahead of it, because I think they're gonna kick it back to you. Maybe they're not gonna kick it back on length because there's a regulation we're unaware of. That'd be great, but we think they will kick it back to you on removal. Because as Deb points out, there's a marina on the lake, been there a long time. They're required to remove their docks every year, and they do.
yeah.
Yeah, I always wondered why LeBar and took theirs out. But
Because they have to.
And the same with Louis B's. They take theirs out every winter.
Come out every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, so like I said, we'd rather you not get held up on stuff like that. We'd like to see that restaurant open and going. So, we're happy to talk to you about, different ideas. I don't know how the docks were configured. Some are easier to remove than others. You just have to get them up out of the water. You can have them up against the side, but you got to get them up out of the water. That's it. Like I said, they don't have to be a whole long ways away, but you're probably going to want to think through that. What it looks like in the winter. People stack up docks on top of each other and stuff because everybody has that problem. They got to get their docks out.
Right.
And if you look at the ones that are at the ramps at both north and south, all those come out of the water. They're 40 feet long. They have wheels under them for that reason. They are anchored by chains on the ends, but the north and south ones all come out of the water by December 1st. They're actually usually out of the water sometime in October because a lot of volunteers and we don't want to freeze to death doing it. And so they come out in typically October, mid-October.
Yeah.
And they don't go back until about, mid-April. They just went back in last weekend.
I know.
And the south one went in, I think, a couple days before the north one did. Because that's put in by the state. But they do not.
It's also, I'm sorry. It's great that they're on wheels because they've got a nice ramp to put them in and out through.
Yeah. I
I've
don't
got
have
an
a ramp
I
here
got
and mine. I don't have a ramp here and mine are on wheels and we just drag them up and get them out of the water.
Mine are also on wheels, and I pull them up and put them on my front lawn
Right.
or my back lawn, right where they are, straight in.
Yep.
Yep. I've got 4
And
docks.
you could do that. You could do that with the ones that you're going to get. If you get them with wheels, you could drag them up
nowhere
onto
to
the
put them on
shore.
the shoreline.
Hmm?
There's no shoreline. There's no place to pull them to on that property. But I'll
Couldn't
take
you
it.
pull it over sideways? Can't you bring them over and set them up sideways?
You would need a crane to do that.
Yes, you would definitely need a crane, and the
You need a
crane would
crane.
have to go over the entire building to do that.
That's correct.
In other words, you can't, because if the docks are built right, you can imagine, something that pulls them from the end to kind of, pull them up and around.
Mhm. Have you been over to the property lately?
No, it's been a
There's-
long time.
Yeah. Between
there's nowhere to do it.
between the deck and the water, there might be 5 feet of
Oh, really?
ground.
Yeah. that's
Oh,
exactly.
I had the wrong picture.
But
in
even
my
if
head.
you get them so that the wheels are just touching the water, that's all right. Because your docks would be out.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
He doesn't have that capability. He would have to pull them with a crane.
Yeah.
There's no easy way where Ken is.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
They'd
But
have
I
to
mean,
be
if-
lightweight
if-
sections.
but
They have
if
to
there's
be-
no way to remove them, then you can file for an exemption. If right? I mean, we have that situation. There are people on the lake.
That'd be
Who's
under the
property-
LPP, but he can't file under LPP.
Right, he's got to file under Chapter 91, but he could, right? I mean, just like.
I don't know.
LPP
I
have
don't know if
exemption.
you can't use a bubbler. You cannot.
Right, no, but I meant the removal of, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, well, my
And-
dock manufacturer tells me I don't need to use a bubbler, that they should be fine. But I just thought that I should use a bubbler. But that's okay. I'll figure it out. Thank you
Okay.
for the question.
Yeah, because, yeah, we, like I said, we'd like to see that open, not
Well,
closed.
Every day I find some new obstacle, and I appreciate
Yeah.
your help every day. But, okay. I
Well,
appreciate your time.
I think we appreciate you, you reaching out to the committee. I think, we definitely appreciate that. I think the whole committee would really love to see that place up and running again. We'd like to, we would like to patronize that.
Thank you.
That place, we would definitely like to do that. I would personally like to, and I'm sure other people on the committee would as well. And, so we would definitely, be interested in helping you to get the transient docks you need. But I think, unless people's opinions have changed, the last time we voted on this as a committee, we were pretty clearly adamant that we thought it was a bad idea to add additional marinas to the lake.
Right.
Either there or anywhere else.
Right.
That's been
nothing
made
to
pretty
do with
clear.
you. Right.
Yeah.
Ken, one
Yeah.
other thing that we didn't touch on that we've gone over several other times is the length of the fingers for safety. You've got, and I'm sorry, but Mr. Levesque does not understand boating. 20-foot fingers will not support a 25-foot boat or even a 20-foot boat with a 10-foot finger. You get a wind.
There's no 10-foot fingers there anymore.
You took those out? Because the last drawing I saw did not have all 20-foot fingers. It had some of each.
The drawing that I sent you, that you have a picture of, has the most southerly docks have 20-foot fingers. The northerly dock for the transient use has 15-foot fingers, which are
Too short.
I'm using. Those are the docks that Joe had for many years. They're the same docks.
Joe wasn't always up to code.
Right.
You might be surprised to learn.
Well, I'm not surprised to learn that. Yeah, but
I would assume a 15-foot finger would work for a 20-foot boat. I would assume that should work
For a
fine.
20-foot
If the
boat,
boat is
but not
tied
for
up.
not a 25-foot pontoon.
If the boat's tied up well, it should work.
But you don't have anything to tie it to.
it's only temporary. It's only going to be there for an hour or so. It's not like
Yeah.
it's.
Look, we don't know. We're just kind of telling you our concerns. The concern that I can imagine is on the weekends when you're hoping to have a lot of people tie up there, the water can get pretty rough.
Yes.
And, the modern pontoon boats that we see out on the water are sort of in the 22 to 25 foot area, most of them.
Most
Years
are
ago, there were
25s,
lots of 18-foot boats, but now a lot of the pontoon boats are more 22 to 25.
Mm.
And I think our concern is that if you were to tie one of those up, we were thinking about a 10-foot or even to a 15-foot. And if the water's rough, like it will be on a weekend, you could have a real problem. And then, then the patrons might be unhappy. Worse than that, somebody could get hurt, by things breaking loose and moving around. So just, food for thought as you're looking at it.
Okay.
The 15-foot kind of gives me the willies a little.
Yeah.
20 feels a lot better if I imagine a 22 to 25-foot boat. And of course, the bow of the boat can't be right up against the dock crossing dock section because they damage the boat. So the reality is they're going to be pulled back a little bit from that.
Right.
And with a 15 foot, you imagine you lose maybe 2 feet on the front. If you got a 22 to 25-foot boat, half of the boat is sticking out past there.
Sticking out.
So you're going to be tying it up from the midships to the bow with half of it sticking out. And if a good wave hits it, which we have all the time, that could equal a problem.
And the other thing that you do have is that these docks are not designed for one boat between two fingers. They're designed for two boats between fingers. So they really need to be stable. You don't want boats crashing into each other.
I'll tell you that they'll be more stable than what Saunders has.
Yeah, but he is in a no
In a
wake
cove.
cove.
That's
He's
a
in
no-wake
no-wake
cove.
cove.
You're not in a no-wake cove. You will not be.
Oh, I see, because he's got no wakes out in front. Yep, yep,
Well, it's not only no wake signs,
It's-
look at the
it's-
shape of the lake.
yep.
He's in the back of a cove at the end of a channel with no wake on the whole area. Your docks are going to be exposed to the whole lake.
Right.
So all good sized waves are going to come right through that area.
Yeah. Even though they're generated in the middle of the lake, they're going to come right through there.
Right. I understand.
Yeah.
I like
So
that. Hey, Ken, if I could comment, you mentioned the parking. And
The what?
most pontoon boats, Mike Coombs, most pontoon boats, you need 2 or 3 cars to put the people on them. You say, oh, 5 boats go out, there'll be 3 or 4 cars for every boat that goes out. They hold 10 to 16 people. And so they're going to be driving around the neighborhoods, unfortunately, and, and trying to find that. That's the big thing with the parking to me. It's if 10 boats go out, that's 30 cars. And Kurt has a problem. He can say 40 boats, but there might be 100 cars that have to go out. Because as you know, you've got a pontoon, you can take 8 and 12 people out, and I've seen your driveway. It's like mine. There's, 10, 12 cars in it on the weekend, which is fine. That's what it's about. But so there's a lot of people that are required to go out on a boat.
I mean, a lot of cars.
Otherwise.
Yeah.
So that's a concern for the neighborhood. You got Kurt and you got the town beach right in that same corner. It's a tight little corner.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you got the bike trail.
Yeah, exactly.
Last
Absolutely.
summer, I've been looking at this property, of course, for many years. Last summer, the bikers were parking over there and
sure.
unloading their bikes. They were parking on the property. I didn't own it then.
Yeah.
They're parking on the property and driving their bicycles over. They won't be able to do that this year.
Yeah. Yeah, what they did is they pulled the tires to the side and then pulled the cars in because Joe kept putting the tires back out.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
It's up to you, Dick. I'm fine with the conversations we've had.
Anybody else have anything on it?
No, Dick, this is Mike DeVay. Ken, I want to say thank you for showing up to explain your side of it. Obviously, we have a different opinion for the marina boats. Transient boats, we're all in favor of that and use that. I've been to that restaurant long before it was Krabby Joe's.
Right.
So, and it's very nice to have a good restaurant open.
Do we want to have two, entertain 2 motions, one for the transient dock while Ken is on? Because we've done this before, but do we want to repeat that and have a vote for the transient dock and one for the any marina dock or docks?
I'm fine with
You've
that.
already made that vote.
Yeah, I
did,
don't think
but-
there's a vote.
I missed.
We've done all that.
I'm fine with whatever. We want to make sure Ken knows how we feel, and I think Eric said it
I
many
do
times.
know. That's why I do know.
Right. We're all in favor of transient boats for the restaurant, support your restaurant. That's a
Absolutely.
great idea.
100%.
All against the marina to put more boats on the lake. Plain and simple. But we can
Yeah.
vote on that or anything else, whatever.
Right. And when, and when the chapter 91 period comes around, because we will have standing as I think the select board told you, lake management will have standing in those proceedings with chapter 91. Lake management will reiterate this position to the state. That, yep, we believe in the transient docks. We think it's a good idea, what have you. And with regard to the marina, we think it's a bad idea and here's why. And we'll cite the studies that we have, and that'll be the position that we'll have. But we will be quite supportive of transient docks and the benefit to the lake and to the community of having that as a going establishment again.
Okay.
That would be good for everyone.
Right. So,
Okay.
and just so you're aware that the conditions that were put by the planning board in the special permit have to be in the Chapter 91 license application, because those conditions, just like they were for Louis B's, is that the conditions were set by the planning board, that the parking had to be available on site for the marina type, the selling spaces.
Right.
And it's no different here. Right now, you do not have that. So the condition the only condition that DEP can put on there is they have to reiterate what was stated in the special permit, which does not say you can put boat one on, sell a space on the lake until that whole parking issue is resolved. And like we said,
Correct.
I don't know that at the select board, any conversations we've had, and you were there, I was there by Zoom, and the select board at this point, they don't even know if they have the right to approve anything without going A, to town voters, and B, for the state land, they don't have a clue.
Right. I
So
understand.
I
I
think
believe that there's a meeting coming up on the 25th that will let me know that, that decision or the latest findings.
A select board meeting or whose?
Select board meeting.
on Monday, the 25th. So I think one other thing, we'd be making a mistake if we didn't bring it up. So thanks, Dick. If, as Dick explained the situation with regard to the transient versus the marina docks. So if, for example, you wanted to go for a Chapter 91 license for the transient docks right now, you can do that.
Yes.
Right.
And that doesn't hold the select board or whoever, or the state or whoever's involved in that whole easement discussion, that's not involved in that. So
Right.
if you went for a Chapter 91 license for the transient docks, you could do that immediately. When that came up and we had, open comment, the lake management would go, amen, yep, we think that's a good idea. So we suspect, barring whatever the issues are with length and where you store them and all, assuming you can get through those, we think that would probably, go without an issue. Certainly there would be no issue from lake management on that. And then you're not held up while you're waiting for people to figure out who has the authority to give you the easement, and then based on who has the authority, how do you get the easement? And it could be mixed authority. If part of the land is town and part of the land is state, you might actually have to go through two completely different processes. And
Yes.
that might get lengthy.
I think what we're suggesting is keep it,
I heard
the old KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid. But if you do it, I would go for the dock, for the transient dock now, and leave don't even have it on your drawing. Or
But we've had that
circle
discussion.
it, and say, this is the only one that we're applying for. Actually, you have to take it off the drawing, or they can phantom it. But because when they approve it, I can tell you this, that they approve not only configuration, they approve location, and you can't change location, you can't change configuration, you can't add or subtract without going back to them.
Right.
That's
So
hard and fast in DEP.
So if you did that, and then let's say, I don't know, 6 months from now, whatever,
Whatever it
then
takes.
are successful at getting the easement, you could then basically apply to amend your Chapter 91 license to include that. We would object to that, but you could do that. But at least you'd be up and running with your transient docks, you'd be up and running with the restaurant, and you wouldn't be held up by this somewhat Byzantine process.
Right.
And it's not, I can tell you, right-of-ways are not easy, because we start, just for roads, we start right-of-ways typically a year and a half, 2 years in advance. Because we do this all the time for obtaining a right-of-way to either work down through a road. Sometimes we have to get easements for utility poles, easements for drainage, or whatever. They take It doesn't happen in 6
Forever.
months. They take forever.
Yeah, I understand.
And
Well,
usually what
I'm hoping-
happens is we're crowding the time when they want to start running machinery to do the job, and we're still got something that's holding it up in right away.
Yeah.
Been there,
Well,
done that
I
so many
appreciate the
times.
comment. I appreciate the comment, Dick and Eric about, apply for the transient first, and then and then when everything gets a little resolved, apply for the chapter 91 for the marina.
Right.
We've had that discussion, Levesque and I, and the planning board actually. And we
Planning board doesn't
decided,
work in the water.
well, I know,
I'll
but we
admit that.
still had a discussion with them, and then they told us not to, or that they weren't involved with it, but they were involved in the conversation. But we decided to go for the whole thing, which we've already applied to them, and we're waiting for their comments back. If their comments come back that are so impossible to be able to get any kind of approval, immediately we're going to do exactly what you just recommended, is to reapply without the marina there.
Yep.
Because we hope to be, we're hoping that we're going to have docks in there by Memorial Day. That's,
I hate
I
to
know.
burst your bubble, but chapter
I know.
91 does not move that fast.
Yeah,
Will
No,
the
but-
restaurant be
Maybe
open?
Labor Day,
To
Nobody
put
does.
it more simply, which Memorial Day?
right?
Yeah. I'm
That's from
finding that out.
experience.
Ken, when do you expect the restaurant to open?
By Memorial Day is our target.
Wow.
But
A month,
and
6
do I-
weeks from
when
now?
do I expect it to? I expect it to open up mid-June, honestly. Levesque Associates missed a few deadlines. Conservation being the major one with the NOI. We missed Conservation's meeting last week, and they don't have another meeting until May 2nd. And they aren't even looking at the property or doing anything until they have the first discussion on May 2nd. So knowing that, I can't do anything outdoors in the property. I can't do any renovate. I can't chop any trees down. No, I don't want to chop any trees down. I don't even want to use that word. I don't want to beautify any bushes. I can't do anything in the parking lot. I can't take away any shrubbery to build my handicap access ramp. I can't do anything without conservation, and that's not until May 2nd. So, our dream was to open up by Memorial Day. If we open up mid-June, I think we're doing pretty good.
And we look forward to it.
And so it sounds like you can open the restaurant even before you have the docks in place, because the chapter 91 will take quite a while.
We can.
Yeah. Well, good.
It's not
good.
preferred to do so.
Good. Good.
We
I
don't want to
think
do that.
number of us will be happy to go there as soon as it's open.
Right.
But I'll tell you, as lake management people, that I hope you won't have a problem when there's 20 boats parked on the shoreline. Because you're allowing it on town property over at North Pond. And so, but that's what I see happening. We can't deter the transient people who are going to want to come to the restaurant off the lake because there aren't any docks there. They're still going to want to come to the restaurant.
Yeah, I think the bigger issue will be if they go into other people's property, then the other people would,
Right.
They might complain and say, no, you can't.
Yeah.
Can't
No,
pull
I-
your dock.
And they cannot,
Pull your boat up to there, yeah.
and they cannot park at the town beach, pull into that area at
Of course.
all.
Right.
And I'm going to be very careful to make sure that none of the town beach people who go to the town beach park their cars on Beach Road or on my property. I'll be the first person to call the police department and have them towed immediately.
Yep.
That's,
Yep. So I'm sure you'll be putting signs up to that effect.
oh, I will be.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't blame you.
If I were you, I would be doing the same.
It's going to be very strict parking, and like I said, hopefully we'll get this marina approved. And there are going to be 10 parking spaces that are strictly going to say marina use only. And we're going to monitor it. We're going to make sure that that's what it is. Like you guys have all your new stickers. I assume that came from Lake Management, but all these dock stickers and things like that, we're going to have little stickers as well. We'll know what cars are supposed to be there or not.
Yep, understood.
Just to reiterate, your 10 parking spaces for marina use only. Remember that you can't count the ones that are on the town or state right of way. So the cart and the horse have to be in the right order in terms of having a marina.
Well, the first order is getting the easement to use that property. And once we've got that, then we've got the 10 spaces we need.
Right,
And
because
then
that'll be a condition in the chapter 91 license, just like it was for Louis B's.
What was the condition?
That they would have to have on-site parking sufficient, the number of spaces for marina type use for basically storing, allowing boats to moor there. Not transient, I'm talking about,
Right, yes,
like
of course,
if you
yes,
want
that's, and
marina type.
we intend to do
mooring.
that. We intend to have that.
And you would, but again, the 10 spaces, you can't start counting anything until you have legal access to use the state/town land, and it's both.
Right.
Right, I think we've reiterated
Okay.
that several times. I'm not planning on that. Restaurant opening up is 48 spaces, not counting anything in the town or state property. Right,
Yep.
and without getting that easement, we can't have the marina.
That's correct.
We don't get the easement, we can't have the marina. We know that right up front.
Right.
But if we get the easement, we can go that much further toward getting the marina. And when we get the marina, we will have 10 assigned spaces, and they won't be those 10, by the way. They will be a different 10 spaces.
Yeah.
Because that's the wrong side of the building for for marina access.
Sure.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
I know
Great.
that was, thank you for an hour of your meeting. Thank you.
Well, and in case it wasn't clear to you, this is important to us. So we're happy to help you on the transient, and we're definitely going to oppose it on the marina. So,
Well, be gentle. Be gentle.
yeah, no, we appreciate it. We're just be open. This is, okay. So thank you again. Really appreciate you coming.
All right. Well, thank you for letting me.
Okay,
Gentlemen, good evening.
take care.
Good night.
Take care.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye now.
Bye.
Mr. DeVay, I see you there. Bye now.
Yep.
Okay. Moving along. The only thing that we've got, 159, there's going to be a meeting. All the information has been provided now, just been provided to the planning board on how to clean that up. And all that information will be circulated. I will get it to all the members as soon as I have it, it'll get circulated. And planning board is not planning on doing anything about that until May 24th would be the next hearing date. So that's the schedule on 159 Berkshire. 139 North Lake Ave, we can go through real quick. Just that's an issue where a person that's got property, 139, 141, 143 are on the front on the property that belongs to the North Pond Homeowners Association, North Pond, whatever the heck that's called. And it's no longer part of the towpath. It was physically acquired by the North Pond something association, homeowners association.
On the print, it says, Dick, on the print, it says North Pond View Association.
That's it. That's the name of it. So the people that are at 139, 141, and 143 have no, they'd be on trespassing on private land. So the one house that has a deal on that is the one that is number 140 Summer Drive, which is the Hankey residence. And they actually have a Chapter 91 license that was approved by the homeowners association because they basically took over what was his original, access. So they gave him in writing authorization to come through their land and have a dock, which he maintains, and it's via Chapter 91 license. So again, they can't be put there unless the homeowners association decides they want to give up space in their cove that is surrounded by their land. So that's where that one stands. Nothing we can do about it right now. It's conservation. And the last thing was the buoys were installed by Rick on Wednesday. A lot of buoys, and there are still a couple of missing teeth in there because the police wanted to have a third buoy red, a third green, and a third slow no wake at the sandbar. And those moorings have to be installed. I had additional moorings brought to the, now that I know that from Rick, I had additional grates moved to the north ramp. And so he'll be installing those probably next week sometime. We have the buoys and we have the hardware, but it's just now, those take quite a while to do because you got to make up all the parts and the chains and all that stuff. So probably maybe by next weekend, you might be able to get those in. So that's all I have. I don't know if anybody else has anything.
I got a couple of questions, Dick, if I can. The one
Yeah.
you were just on 139.
Yeah,
The two emails that came in were from somebody from 139.
Yeah.
Is that person Jacqueline, I think? Is she writing
Yeah.
on behalf of the homeowners association? Or is she
No,
writing on
no.
behalf of herself?
herself. She lives at I believe her married name is Sened, S-E-N-E-D. And so anyway, she owns that house. And next door is Mr. Goldberg. And that's at 141. And so I guess he had put a dock in front of hers. And she was explaining to him that she can't have one, he can't have one in front of hers. And anything that's done there has to be through the homeowners association and then get a permit, not chapter 91, a local permit, or they'd have to go with chapter 91 license. But if they do chapter 91, again, it has to be approved. They're not the property owner, so it has to be approved by the homeowner association.
Okay, and the way you said it before, the
Yeah.
guy that's got that 141 that has a dock that's approved under a chapter 91,
140.
he's got a standard easement, must have been wrote all the way into his deed when they
Yes,
took over that land.
that's correct.
Okay, so,
His is different. And his is a Summer Drive address. He's at the end of Summer Drive.
okay. So we don't have to do anything with this, but if we do,
Nothing
we
that we
gotta
have
go
to
down
do.
and look at it or something, because this is
That's all.
confusing.
Yeah, if you just
Okay.
want to look at it so you understand. And you
All
can
right.
actually walk to it.
All right,
And the map shows exactly, what we're talking about. Actually, if you want to note on your map, the one that's at where I pointed on, it says North Pond Homeowners Association, North Pond Views Association. That diagonal line points into number 139. The next one is 141. The next one is 143. And the last one is 140 Summer Drive. So you got 3 addresses on North Lake Ave and then 1 on Summer Drive. And those are the 4 waterfront, 4 homes on that little cove. Okay,
okay.
nothing that we can do.
That's the one, 139 is where Mike and I walked and got yelled at for stepping on somebody's land, I think.
If you were on the North Pond Homeowners Association land, they would, that's like, they all use that up and down because it's actually a walkway all the way up to that road, North Pond Road, I think that's called.
Okay,
There's a walkway specifically for that.
that's
But
where
there's
the
not,
old,
it's gated so that you can't take vehicles through it.
isn't that where the old canal used to go out?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
yep, that's correct.
Okay, I had one other question on the agenda.
Yeah,
We've been carrying an item all along here, and I want to ask you, this is conflict of interest statement certificates and get sworn in. Do we know who the people are that aren't sworn in? Because we're carrying this and
all I want to hear is everybody say they've been sworn in.
Been sworn in.
I've been sworn in as far as I know. I went with Mike Coombs up there last summer.
Is there,
And we've
a-
been carrying
you
this
have
all
to get
winter.
sworn in?
Pardon me?
Do you have to get sworn in this year? Because Mike and I went last year. Are we talking this year again? Dick?
No, you would have been for 3 years.
Oh, yeah, we did that.
Okay,
I believe I'm
Anybody else?
sworn in too from last year.
Yeah.
That,
Okay.
that thing we did online though, with getting the certificates, I
yeah,
don't think I've ever gotten mine.
all right. I will check with town
Michelle?
clerk and find out, yes.
Yeah.
Make
Yeah.
sure, all
Hey,
right,
Just let us know.
Thank you, Dick.
yep. Because
Dick,
I get confused, I get as confused as you get on it.
yeah, how many times have we got to take this other course? Yeah.
Yeah.
Dick, do we have an ETA on when we might have those lighted buoys?
No, I cannot put time in on that right now. Sorry.
Can anybody else help?
It's,
All right.
it's me time to finish the working with, I need to get together with Mike Westcott and with the sheriff, and getting 3 people together that are up to their eyeballs is very difficult right now.
Dick.
It's not a priority one. I'm sorry.
Dick, if CRC had somebody who could draw the thing, would that help? In other words, if we got somebody from I'm just saying CRC as an example, Deb, maybe there's somebody else, but if CRC had somebody who could draw it, would that,
It's not just a matter of drawing. We have to, you have to we have to get the parts that are available, which are surplus tanks, and design it around the surplus tanks, because we're not going to pay for materials to be machined from scratch. So this is make fit in what we got for free.
Yeah, I'm just saying, CRC has put the money aside.
It's not going to happen right now. I'm just saying.
Okay, and I'm just saying, do we have an estimate? I know you're always up to your eyeballs, Dick, and we would like to help if
It's
we
low
can.
on I'm sorry, but it's low on the priority list right now.
so Dick, is there
Not for us.
somebody, if CRC could find someone who can do the work, in other words, would it be possible to just hand them, hey, here's an example tank you have to make this
We don't
from?
have that. No, we don't have that.
Ugh.
And it's getting together with the sheriffs, because they're going to actually do the manufacturing. And we're getting too many people into the mix.
Yeah, I
Mike
know.
Westcott, the sheriff, and myself have met, and we will continue to meet.
Yeah, it's just, CRC's put effort in, to put money together to do it.
Dollars are not the solution.
Yeah, it definitely, if we can get that to work, would be a safety enhancement.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So Dick, you're working with the sheriff and who else?
And Mike Westcott. And he's up to his eyeballs,
I know. That's why if we can help in any way, we'd like to.
and those are the ones that have to be involved, because it has to be police, and he's part of the dive team, and he's the link to the sheriffs. And we can't do an end around run to the sheriffs.
No, we're not. I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying we would like to help where we can. And the
Right.
money's already been allotted. And
That's secondary, unfortunately.
okay,
And just a quick question, Dick. If CRC, and now I'm spending your money, if CRC was able to find a commercially available equivalent solution.
Well, we already
that-
tried that. They don't make things for people who want to be animals.
Yeah.
That's why they have buoys out in the sound and on the rivers that are 8 feet high,
Yeah.
armored, you know.
Right.
And
Okay.
we're certainly not going to, Rick Wylot's not going to move an 8 foot high buoy into
Yeah,
place.
no, it's, nobody's suggesting that.
No.
And
Maybe a
those are
little,
commercially available. You know, you don't have to do any design, but they also cost about $4,000 each.
yeah. Well, maybe we can just attach a few flashbangs to
There you go.
buoys. Okay, thanks, appreciate it.
I know how many of you guys
Thanks, Eric.
remember Bill Murdy that used to live on the point at the sandbar. Scotty does. And he used to hear him and see him out there backing up and running over the buoys at night. They back up, run over it, back up, run over it. And then he caught him out there with a pipe, smashing the whole top of the buoy off.
Well, hopefully those people are now in an old folks home.
They got replaced by kin.
Okay, so,
Sometimes alcohol has something to do with it.
yeah, I move to adjourn.
I
Yeah.
got one quick thing,
Yeah.
one quick question. 21 White Street, that's up for a town vote in May, Dick?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. It's on the, I don't know if it's on the special or on the annual. I
Okay.
haven't seen either of the warrants. It'll be on one of the two. They're same night, doesn't matter. One
Yeah.
starts at 6:30, the other starts at 7.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
anything else? We had a motion to adjourn.
I'll
I make a
second.
motion to adjourn.
Who
Thought Deb
seconded?
did that.
Yeah,
I'll second it.
who seconded?
Gotti, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Unanimous? Night all.
Good night.